Hello guys, so in this tutorial we are going to talk about data binding, and as you can see at the left side you have your template, which is your HTML code, and at the right side you have your TypeScript where you write all your business logic. So you can see data binding as a communication between your template, your HTML code, and your business logic. And sometimes you may have some data, or you may want to fetch some data from the server to display on your template. And the first way to output your data so that the user can actually see the data is to use string interpolation. And string interpolation is simply a way to output your data, and you use these curly braces. The second way to output your data is to use property binding. And we're going to see property binding deeply in another tutorial. And on the other way around, you also have another type of binding which is called event binding. And a use case you can actually have is, you might want, for example, you have a user which interacts with your HTML, or which interacts on the template by clicking a button and then by triggering something in your TypeScript, in the TypeScript code. So the communication between the template and the TypeScript code is simply called event binding, where you have a user interacting on your template or do something so that something on your TypeScript or something in the business logic happens. So you have a user which clicks on a button, for example, and may want to display something, or may want that something may happen. So that is called event binding. Another type of binding is a two-way binding. So the two-way binding is simply the combination of the various ways I mentioned earlier, which is on the first side, which is to output the data using the string interpolation and property binding, and event binding. So the combination of all those ways is called a two-way binding, whereby which is a combination of a user interacting and at the same time displaying the data. So we're going to see all those various ways of binding in the next tutorial, so that you can actually see it properly working. So thank you for this tutorial, and then we're going to meet in the next tutorial to have the implementation of all those ways. Goodbye.